Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, and welcome back to another live show. This is Epic Drone Show, episode 29. If you're watching this at approximately 12:23 p.m. New York City time, then this is a live show. I see a lot of people tuning in already. Troy300 is here. Welcome, Troy. Nate Sarag is here, asking about how is Bubba. You know, obviously Bubba is from the Drone Evangelist series. You can find that on droneevangelist.com. But yeah, Drone Evangelist is all about preaching safe and responsible drone use, because that's a problem we have nowadays with drones, is that, you know, being hobbyists, we have a lot of less than responsible people. Maybe not even people that would be less than responsible, but people that are so inexperienced that they're going out and creating problems, and it becomes perception problems for the hobby as a whole. So, you know, anytime you have a chance, you know, share the message of safe and responsible drone use, because otherwise this hobby that we enjoy may no longer exist at an international level because of heightened regulation. So keep that in mind. But today is a little bit about everything, you know, anything you want to talk about pertaining to drones. I know there's been a lot of back and forth about the DJI Mavic Pro 2, and you know, there's a lot of people on the fence. They're saying, well, you know, is this going to come out before the end of the year? And you know, my personal opinion, as I've stated before, if it doesn't, it's going to be it would be a step backwards for DJI, because ultimately December is the is the holiday. It's the holidays, so they need to get the products out there now. They need to pump the products up now and get them out before the Christmas shopping season, because I mean, they got to release a new product. And a lot of y'all have asked, well, is it just going to be Mavic Pro 2, or are we also going to see a Phantom 5? You know, and as I mentioned previously, I think we're going to see both. I think we're going to see Phantom 5, radically new design, something that's borrowing elements from the highly successful DJI Mavic Pro, and then also the smaller DJI Spark. So I think we're going to see something that's, you know, again, more prosumer grade from the Phantom, and then we're really going to see the Mavic Pro 2 step up and, you know, give us 4K 60, give us a 1-inch sensor, you know, hopefully a modular camera, you know, a lot of things that would make that smaller and more lightweight drone even better. So yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff. See more people tuning in. I don't know, what questions do y'all have? You know, what are y'all excited about? Obviously, this being Epic Drone Show Live, the concept here is to talk about drones, and you know, what you've heard, what you think that may be coming, what you like, what you don't like. You know, anything is fair game. You know, obviously keep this show responsible for all age groups. See you later, Troy. Thanks for tuning in, man. Check out all my drone videos, man. Go to epicdroneshow.com. You can see my various drones and my drone videos there, Troy. Yeah, so we've got, it's going to be a good, you know, this fourth quarter of 2017 ought to be really good. So are there any other drones that you've heard of? I mean, I know it seems that 3 commercials since tuning in, says John. Interesting. B. Hendo says, when do you think the next Phantom or Mavic will be announced? You know, my gut says this month. Well, not this month because it's July the 30th, but August of 2017. It would only seem to make sense because, you know, they've got to get the drones out there. They've got to publicize them. They've got to ship the drones to their distribution centers. They've got to get the drones in the hands of their resellers' distribution centers, and then those distribution centers have to get them to their storefronts, to their retail storefronts. And then obviously there's online ordering, like, you know, you can go to epicdroneshow.com and you can find all the drones there. But I mean, it's a huge logistical process, so it only seems to make sense that we're going to see something in August. And why do I say August? Well, August is very close to Christmas, and I don't think it would be realistic to believe that they would get something in the hands of consumers for Christmas if they didn't hurry up and get on the wagon here. And I know they've been working on it. I mean, they've got to. I mean, DJI's not going to say, well, we released Mavic, we released Spark, we released the Phantom 4 Pro, we're just going to give up. They're not going to throw in the towel. They're doing too well. Bihendo says, getting ready to sell my Phantom 3 4K in order to get those at release. Are you more excited for the Phantom 5 or the Mavic Pro 2? Well, I'm excited about both. Now, the Mavic Pro 2, I'm super excited about because what it should do, if DJI executes well, which I feel they probably will, is that it should further refine what they brought us with Mavic Pro. You know, Mavic Pro was a very well orchestrated proof of concept, meaning that it was the first of its design. It was very well perceived by the market. I mean, obviously, people that have been flying Phantoms religiously, like myself, they nitpicked when the Mavic Pro came out. And they said, well, the camera's not quite as good, the stability of flight's not quite as good, but overall, this is a rock-solid drone. So I think what we're going to see with Mavic Pro 2, you know, is something that's further refined, better features, 4K 60 or better. You know, something, great question, Bihendo, do you think it'll cost more than $1,500? Well, you know, it's like anything else. I think we're in a scary phase right now with drones because we've basically got one drone manufacturer that's good, and that's DJI. So they've, even though there are some competitors that have tried to step up, they failed. I mean, even GoPro failed. GoPro failed to compete with DJI. And they don't have a monopoly, but they sort of have a monopoly from the perspective that they know, they feel fairly confident whatever they put out. Prime example, DJI Spark. Look at the pricing for that. And something that didn't even have 4K. And I know a lot of people argue, well, it didn't need to have that, didn't need to have this, but their price point was very aggressive for what the DJI Spark brought to the table. What I would like to see with the Mavic Pro 2 and the Phantom 5, I would like to see these coming in below $1,000 US. Because I think, you know, the excessive price is just, it's a little bit too much. I mean, they need to make these more reachable by the masses. And the masses, I mean people that are responsible drone hobbyists. I don't want them to become so cheap that every idiot's got one and they're creating events within the news that give drones a bad name. You know, I don't want them that cheap. So Ron just says, Walkera has released a Mavic clone for $799. The Vetus, I believe. Well, and see, that's interesting when you say clone. I mean, we've got, and there was that other manufacturer at CES that never materialized. It looked really cool. The Alltel, the one with the modular camera, this, that, and the other. Got a lot of would-be competitors, but they just don't seem to have their own DNA. They're trying to rip, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but they're trying to emulate what the leading brand has done, DJI. So again, that's just further confirmation that DJI is the best drone at this point in time. But GoPro did it a little bit differently. Their concept, and again, I didn't like it. It was a failure, and I hate to say that because I love GoPro. But GoPro did it differently. GoPro had their own DNA. When you looked at that drone, you didn't say, "Oh, that's a Phantom knockoff." You know, you looked at it and you said, "Okay, this is something that GoPro has designed. This is something that their R&D team put together." They didn't try to emulate what someone else has done. And actually, on paper, it was really cool because you could take the grip out of it, and then you had a handheld gimbal that you could use for filming on the ground. You know, use the same camera on the ground that you use in the sky. But you know, despite the product recall, GoPro Karma was just. I like the controller, but it just didn't have. It didn't have the feature set that you can get from DJI, and it was a disappointment. I mean, hopefully they'll go back to the drawing board, and hopefully GoPro will come out with something just to knock our socks off. Because I did like the controller for the GoPro Karma. I thought it felt very well made. I liked the integrated screen. It felt, you know, it was just a good experience. But, you know, having that fisheye when filming at 4K, you know, no way to go into linear mode if you're filming at 4K with the current GoPro Hero 5 models. It just ruined the video quality. I mean, I was getting inferior video quality. Why not just go out and get the competitor's product, the DJI? Ron says, I'm waiting for the Mavic 2. Hoping the Mavic 1 prices drop and I can get one at a bargain. Well, you know, the way that DJI's done, typically they come out with a new product line, and then, you know, the previous ones, you know, immediately they tend to discount, and then, but the problem is when you get in on the previous, if they're using different batteries and different props and all that, those over time become harder to come by. So, it can actually get expensive. Even if the drone can be found at a discount, sometimes that can get expensive. B Hendo says the Phantom has been good design for a drone, and DJI attempted to venture out from that design and release the Mavic, which was another design of high success. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think the DJI Spark was an extreme experiment, and I think Spark was sparked by the success of the Mavic Pro, which was their first first time to step away from their proven and rock solid, highly popular, highly reliable DJI Phantom platform. So yeah, I think Phantom 5, back to the question earlier, are you more excited about Phantom 5 or Mavic Pro 2? Well, I'm excited about both. I think ultimately I'm probably going to be more excited about the Phantom 5 because I think what we're going to see with Phantom 5 is something radically different. I think it's the first time with the Phantom line that we're going to see something radically different. When you look at it and you say, okay, I've owned or I've looked at Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 3, Phantom 4, they all look pretty much the same. If you saw one on the sidewalk somewhere, you'd immediately say, oh, that's a DJI Phantom just because of the design of the drone. But I think when you look at the Phantom 5, I think it's going to be, you'll probably still see some elements and say, okay, that is a Phantom. But at a quick glance, if you looked at it, you wouldn't immediately say, okay, that's a Phantom, because it is going to have a radically different design. So I'm more excited about the Phantom 5 for that reason. I think it's going to be interesting to see, what DJI brings to the playing field and how they further refine an already excellent product. I mean, arguably, and it would be hard for one to argue otherwise, without a doubt, the best drone on the market today, the most proven and most reliable, the most popular aerial platform today, the DJI Phantom. So it's going to be interesting to see how far, from a design perspective, they're willing to step outside of their comfort zone with the Phantom 5, because they don't want to step so far away that they risk damaging the outstanding reputation of their DJI Phantom. If they step too far out, they would need to make another product. And I think that's why they've got these other product lines. They've got the Mavic and the Spark, which I like to refer to as their experimental product lines. And then their DJI Phantom is their bread and butter. Now, Ron says, check GoPro's stock market status. They need something quick. Their camera market is getting killed by cheaper clones that are 90% as good as a fraction of the cost. Yeah, GoPro's stock is in the gutter, dude. And that's a shame, because I've always loved GoPro, and I love the fact that I got a GoPro camera. The Hero 2 is the first one I got. And all the way through present, I'm using the same mount, so I didn't have to rebuy. I'd buy a new camera, but I've got this huge assortment of mounts that I can continue to use. So I thought that was cool. B Hendo says, do you think the Phantom X that was released as April Fool's Day joke a year ago could be any insight? I don't know if that was really an April Fool's joke. I think the Phantom X, when you look at that video, you're seeing a lot of those elements in the drones. I mean, DJI Spark, its claim to fame, aside from the ultra small size, is that you can use gesture. They're experimenting with what seem to be highly futuristic technologies for their drones. So I think it's although it may have been a joke, I think it's foreshadowing what's coming for the drones, because they've got to continue to innovate. Any product, whether it's a drone or a camera or a computer or whatever, if the company doesn't continue to innovate and bring new features to the product, it's going to become dull in the minds of consumers. And back to your GoPro thing, I think that's kind of what we've seen with GoPro. GoPro has really, unfortunately, they've gotten stale. They need to innovate. They've had a great product. They need to innovate. They need to bring us something that doesn't have fisheye. They need to bring us something, and I think GoPro Fusion is going to be a really cool camera. I'm excited to see what that 360 spherical will do. B Hendo says, I think GoPro has its branding despite other camera clones. I like GoPro because it's GoPro, not what it might be able to all do. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. GoPro has name recognition. They really do. I mean, they're the industry leader without a doubt. So, for action cameras. But with that said, I'm excited. I don't know if y'all messed with the Sony action cameras. I'm a huge Sony guy, but I've never used a Sony action camera simply because I had all these GoPro mounts. But I think if they come out with a Sony, it'd be really cool if they came out with a Sony action camera with a 1-inch sensor that would do 4K 60. I think that would be a game changer. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of excitement. But yeah, I think definitely I'm more excited about the Phantom 5 than I am the Mavic Pro 2. Obviously, I'm excited about both. But, you know, my main objective with the Mavic Pro 2 is for them to bring something that's better than a Phantom from video stability and video image quality perspective, because that's what killed me with the Mavic Pro. Although it was great, very well made, it just wasn't as good. And you know, if you're like me and you're using it primarily for video, if it's not as good, that's not a positive. So, you know, they're really going to have to step up with the Mavic Pro 2 and make it really refined, and you know, bring us something that's outstanding. So, yeah, I mean, we've got let's see. Sorry, I had messages coming in here. It's a busy place. Bob says, sorry, I've only got Phantom 3 Advanced, but love it. I'm new to drones. Phantom 3 Advanced is a rock-solid drone. Actually, you know, the Phantom 3 Advanced and the Phantom 3 Pro, two of my favorite drones, just because, and really the only differentiating factor between the two is the fact that is the specification that Phantom 3 Pro will do 4K. Phantom 3 Advanced after firmware update tops out at 2.7K. So, yeah, it's those are rock solid drones. Welcome to the hobby. You know, again, be a drone evangelist. Teach others that, you know, drone safety, responsible drone use is imperative, because if we don't become our own drone evangelist, you know, this hobby may cease to exist. And I know that sounds silly, and I know I repeat that over and over, but just look at what the media are sharing out there. It's not good. It's not good for the hobby. So, you know, we've got to give this hobby a good name. And Ron says, will the Mavic 2 be as good as the Phantom 4 Pro camera-wise? Well, it better be. And that's what I expect from Mavic Pro 2. I want 4K 60. You know, I want a 1-inch sensor. I don't want this tap-to-focus junk. I hate tap-to-focus. Tap-to-focus is the most annoying feature that has been introduced. I hate tap-to-focus. So if DJI is watching this, I hate tap-to-focus. Please do away with tap-to-focus. We do not want tap-to-focus. B. Hendo says, I'm selling my Phantom 3 4K because my Spark has more tech in it and capabilities other than the camera, which isn't... Well, if the camera's not important to you and the battery life's important, yeah, I mean, that's a good reason for the Spark. I mean, you know, smaller, more lightweight, you know, obviously enough battery to get something done, but it's not, you know, it's not going to stay up in the sky as long as a Phantom or a Mavic Pro. And like you mentioned, you're not going to get 4K and you're not going to get a 3-axis gimbal. But, you know, if camera's not important to you, just having fun, man, that thing's a beast. Especially when I used it with a controller and did the sport mode. I mean, that thing was fast. It was scary fast. Ron says the Phantom 3 Pro was the first great drone. I agree. It really was. Phantom 3 Pro is where DJI said, you know what? You know, the previous drone we had was the Phantom 2 Vision Plus. We had our camera in that. It worked well. Topped out at 1080p. Well, you know what? Now we're going to bring you something rock solid. And they brought us the Phantom 3 Pro, which was just rock solid and, you know, just a true testament to where DJI is heading with these technologies. I mean, it's incredible to look how far we've come already with drone technologies in such a short period of time. You know, we're on the cusp of something great with the drone industry, and if people just, I don't think people realize that. I know a lot of people do realize that, but I don't think it's, you know, a lot of people look at drones and they're like, man, you know, what's the obsession? You know, why are people so addicted to those drones? All it is a little toy. It's not. There's so much more to this. B. Hendo says, I'll definitely be getting the Mavic 2 or Phantom 5. Same here, man. I mean, unless they do something stupid and make it priced through the stratosphere, I mean, ultimately, these need to come in under $1,000 US. You know, they need to get competitive with their pricing. They made enough money already. Well, I don't want to say that because that's an anti-capitalist comment. You know, it should be in every business's objective to make as much money as possible. But I think they need to get to to value their consumers, I think they need to get a little bit better with their pricing. They're getting a little bit too expensive. Clam says, do you Parrot Bebop 2 is the second? Do I think Parrot Bebop 2 is the second drone behind DJI drones? Honestly, when Parrot Bebop, the original, came out, and Parrot Bebop 2, and check out my Parrot Bebop videos, by the way, but when Parrot Bebop 2 came out, it was basically a slightly overhauled version of the Parrot Bebop 1. I wanted to love that drone. And there were several problems with the Parrot. Number one problem, well, we didn't get 4K video. But despite not getting 4K video, we didn't really get 1080p video. Even though it does 1080p, it's software stabilized. There's not a gimbal on the Bebop. So that video is being stabilized by software, so it doesn't look as good. You know, look at 1080p video from a Parrot Bebop, compare it with a DJI Phantom. It's night and day. Phantom wins by a long shot. I like the portability aspect of the Parrot Bebop. It kind of foreshadowed where DJI was going to head in the future with the Mavic Pro and the DJI Spark. But the problem with the Bebop is that to get the range, and obviously I fly line of sight to be safe and responsible, but they had that sky controller just massive. It totally negated the fact that the Bebop itself was somewhat small and lightweight. And furthermore, the ability for the Parrot Bebop to handle wind, it could handle a moderate amount of wind, but the DJI drones run circles around it. And I hate to say that because it looked cool, but I wouldn't say it's right behind DJI. I would say the second best to DJI would be GoPro Karma. You know, even though I don't like the GoPro, I love GoPro, but I don't like the GoPro Karma. There's so much room for improvement with the Karma. I would just scrap that design. Especially, that's what I would have done when it got recalled. I would have said, "Hey, we failed. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's create something great." And but I would still say that the GoPro Karma is second behind DJI. Now, when you're looking at people in the race, and you got this person here, it's not neck and neck. It's like you got DJI, and then you got GoPro Karma, and then way back there, even off the screen that you can see from this camera, would be Parrot Bebop. Biendo says, I've had the original Bebop and liked it, but it definitely doesn't compare to DJI drones. Very true. Yeah, I agree. Ron says, Unique has a high drone that competes with Phantom 4 in features. I forget. I flew that, and I hated it. It was called a Typhoon H. And the reason I didn't like it is that, well, number one, it was too big and it was too heavy. Even though it folded up, and it was somewhat the same size as a Phantom from a travel perspective, it was still too big and too heavy. My biggest complaint is the camera quality was terrible. I don't know if mine had a defective camera or what, but it was terrible. And then it had a little micro SD card slot on the controller that you had to use to update the firmware on the controller, and that thing was broken on mine. So, having the broken micro SD card slot on the controller and the camera that I'm assuming it was defective. If it wasn't defective, it was just horrible quality. That was a disappointment. And that drone, it was kind of to look at it from a design perspective, they were trying to go between the Phantom and the Inspire line. They made it kind of look like an Inspire, and some features like that with the landing gear lifting up and this, that, and the other. But it was not good. I mean, I didn't like it. I know there's some people out there that like it, and that's fine. But, yeah, we just need somebody to step up that actually can compete. We need an Apple. We need a Google. We need a Microsoft. We need somebody that can compete with DJI, because I hate to sound like a DJI fanboy, because that's lame. That is lame to sound like a fanboy for any product. And, it's bad, though, because there's nothing else out there that I can say, okay, that's great. I like that. That's good quality. This option, that option's the same. I mean, when you're looking at drinks, you got Coke, you got Pepsi, you got RC. They're different. But to put all three of those in a cooler and grab one to drink, the user experience is going to be somewhat similar. It's a cola flavored beverage. And George, I haven't, man. I kind of lost interest after the Typhoon H. Have you tried it? Yeah, so yeah, just a lot of good stuff coming this year, and it's a shame that we haven't seen any products from competitors pop up, especially on the cusp of the holiday season. And that begs the question: will we see that? Will we see something? Someone come out of the woodwork and say, "Okay, we're releasing a drone, and it's going to compete." Something that's not emulating the design of a DJI Phantom or another DJI drone, but something brand new visually, from a visual perspective that that may be able to offer the same or better performance than the DJI drone. And we just, we haven't gotten it yet. Ron says, it's been a year since Unique has updated the Unique H, so I'm not sure if it has a future. Well, I knew it didn't have a future with me when I encountered my things in the field. Check out my videos with it when I had it out in the field. I mean, it was, I wanted to like it because I wanted to like something new. I wanted to like something that wasn't just DJI. And I had the same thing with GoPro. And I mean, I was, the GoPro Karma, that was the biggest thing, was going in, having had such a great experience with GoPro products in the past, and then the GoPro Karma came out and it just failed. It was such a failure. And I hated that. So, I mean, I still haven't found a drone that I can say, okay, this is not DJI, but I love it. I haven't found that. It's super disappointing. But, yeah, this is just another, epic drone show. I want to keep everyone up to date. I know we're in a weird transitional state right now. We just saw DJI Spark come out, and I know we all have different opinions about that, but what's next? And it's kind of I'm ready for the next drone, and I'm ready to take it out in the field and have fun, and and hopefully find something that'll prove to be a reliable and better future-proof drone. Mark says, still wondering what drone will use chips that Qualcomm and Intel are working on. That could be a game changer. Not talking about the H. Well, that's true. Yeah, if you got, but my question there is, if the chips could be such a game changer, wouldn't we just see a company like an industry leader like DJI buy the technology if it was needed? But if not, if a competitor stepped up and got that's where we get an Apple or a Google or somebody like that to come in and and buy the rights to use these new chips and bring something to the table that could potentially be a game changer. But I don't know, it's a fun industry. I know y'all love this as much as I do, and it's some people have said, man, do you think the drone hobby is becoming stale? And I really don't. I don't think it's becoming stale at all. I think actually now it's more of a we're in a better state, because I think we're getting past the newness. People have accepted the fact that drones are not a fantasy; they're a reality. You see a drone flying, it's like, oh, that's a drone. They may be losing their cool factor a little bit, because when you first saw a drone, you probably had a really cool reaction. It's like, that can't be real. But now it's like, that is real. So it's it's putting us in a different, positioning us for the next phase of this hobby. Mark says, hate to say it, but DJI is a Chinese company. That causes problems for Intel, Qualcomm due to technology restrictions and security concerns. Very true. Yeah, when you're dealing with China has a lot of regulations in place that make business difficult. So, interesting thought. Yeah, but obviously Intel and Qualcomm are both U.S.-based companies. So, well, one thing's for sure: if that technology that Intel and Qualcomm's developing actually materializes and is something that they would need, I'm sure they could probably reverse engineer it to some degree over in China, especially with their financial resources now. I mean, God, DJI's got to be making a killing off of all these drones. So, but yeah, I mean, this has been cool. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and conclude this live show, but check out epicdroneshow.com. You can find all the previously recorded episodes, including this one, as soon as it processes and I upload it. And you can find all the drones, the drone accessories, and a whole lot more. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. youtube.com/IrixGuy. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.